Reading books is best. I had recently moved into an apartment in another part of the city. Feeling bored some hours after I had unpacked my last box, I went out and bought a book from a bookshop in the local shopping center. When I arrived back home, a neighbor called around and said he knew I had been to the bookshop as he had seen me with the book in my hand as I had walked home. He said he looked forward to having many discussions with me about books. I invited in my neighbor and he told me a story. The story went like this. He had been on an expedition in his younger days and he described his journey in roundabout ways. However, he kept in some sort of chronological order, although he made any detour in the narrative he might care to make. Really, his story was quite gripping. But by and by, I recognized what he said as being from a well-known expedition. Also, it was now so far distant in time that I did not feel he could have been on it. Were you on this expedition? I mean. I was, he said. More than you can believe. I saw all those things I've described, I ate with them and I endured the same hardships. But I could not accept this as being his story and I told him I thought he must be mistaken. Many a person has such stories to tell. Many have been on such expeditions. I don't think they have. At that, he held up his strong, rounded perfect fingers and said, perhaps not. Ask me anything. What is your real story? First you need a story. And I have one. But you can't say that about everyone. Some have no story at all. He paused, but then continued, I worked in an office for 30 years and did well at it. All right, I said. Tell me about that. No, I won't, he said. Really, there is nothing to tell. It was just throwing out a load of old typewriters most of the time. But I had a good time, they paid me well and it was an interesting job. And the girls liked me. I had relationships with many of the typists and other women who worked there. And I had a good time for 30 years and enjoyed myself. He looked up pointedly and then said, and I can tell you some go to work and they didn't have a good time or interesting jobs. Perhaps you should keep with your books as I can tell you are unlikely to be as successful as I was. So keep to those stories. Think of them as being for enjoyment and making some money for the bookseller. Never think of them as being anything more. All my life I have enjoyed myself reading and only wish I could start again. He held up his hands again demonstratively. Nothing I did at work is worth talking about now. You can read it all in the newspapers, any changes in office technology or about office work. What more is there do you think to know than what they print? I did what they paid me to do and they paid me for what I could do. I could have had any job, but I did that one and found it interesting. And, he added, I still enjoy myself now. The end.